son un peu fort. I will talk about what I've learned during my Evo experience about things related to the game, to the way we play KOF 15. What I did is that I went to the like top best ranked players and just asked them what is going on. You know, like, okay, they're stronger for sure because of lots of reasons, and they've already the players that were there, they've already proved themselves in KOF and fighting games. But there was something different. I felt that because I'm used to play with those guys for a very long time now in different KOF games, and I was right to actually ask what is going on because there were things that maybe you couldn't really see when you look at the game or you play the game. We felt it, but it was difficult to put words on that, and my exchanges with those players helped me to actually put words on that overall feeling, and that's what I want to share with you because I was lucky enough to be at Evo. I know that it's a huge privilege, especially for someone here from Morocco, and I had chance to talk to those players. Most of them are very good friends of mine, so we can have very open conversation, and I feel like I had to share that with most of people because it helped me. It's gonna help my future KOF 15 approach. So I've just said let's just share it with everyone, and I can just share that in tweets. It's complicated. So that's it. I don't know where I'm gonna start the YouTube part of that thing, but I'm gonna try to start now. I think we've waited enough. And first of all, disclaimer: I'm very sorry about my English. I'm not native English speaker. This is maybe my third or fourth language, so if some words are not right or I didn't spell things correctly, do not hesitate on the chat to interact and ask to repeat. It's normal. I completely understand that. And again, sorry if you don't get everything I'm saying. You know, but please, I didn't made a YouTube video. Well, you might watch this on YouTube, but it's from a stream actually. But I didn't make a YouTube video, direct YouTube video, because there's the stream has this ability to exchange, interact with the viewers, and if there's something's not clear, and I count on you guys because what I'm gonna talk about might raise questions, so please do not hesitate. And if you want me to explain that in another language like French or Arabic, please use the chat section to ask a question or ask me to translate. I will try to do it. Okay, guys. So I think we can start. And like everybody was like, "Whoa, what's going on? What he's going to talk about? What's the big revolution? What did he discovered at Evo?" Well, it's not a big discovery, but this is something has changed in the core KOF gameplay. If you take this game compared to, okay, let's say KOF 13, 14, and 15. Let's say the three last KOF games. Maybe older games are closer to that. Certainly not KOF 11. But my point of comparison gonna be 13, 14, and 15 for sure. So in KOF 15, as you've seen, there was a domination from players from Taiwan. Like top 3 of Evo tournament was 3 Taiwanese players that have already won Evo before. I mean, ZJZ has already won Evo Japan. He's already been on Evo finals and things like that. He's already a very, very famous and strong top player. ET already won Evo and not once. And Xiaohei is very known in the KOF 2002 scene as one of the best players in Taiwan and maybe the world. So no surprise. It's not like, oh, 3 newcomers from a weird country that took the top 3. Other top 8 placement are no surprise at all. Like we have Lacid from Korea, South Korea, who is already a very, very strong player, known in other KOF games, 13, 14, and older games. He's a legend in older KOF games. You have Paco, who is also already known, already Evo top 8, already one of the best players of the region. You have Score from Japan, who is already also one of the top players. You know what I mean? So all the top 8. Seis MX was maybe the surprise, but he's a very strong player in his region, and he completely deserved to have that top 8 placement because the tournament was extremely difficult. And of course Mok from Japan, who is also known since KOF 14. I don't know him from before 14, to be honest, but in 14 he was already destroying people with his kukri, and he just kept that path. He won the Japan qualifier for Evo, the PlayStation tournament, so no surprise. But there was a dominance, I don't know how to say that, from those players, and there was some surprise, some people that were weighted in top 8 that couldn't make it. I'm thinking about players like Matt KOF or Reynald or Violent Kane, Huevo, Tamago. I mean, well, there've been some upsets, but the top 8 is no real surprise. So I'm not starting that to say why like there's a surprise, why did they win. I wanted to understand, because the game is quite new, how did they manage, I'm talking about those top players, the like say top 2 players, how did they manage to get that gap of level compared to the rest of the players. So I'm gonna try to start explaining things step by step. So when I've asked, they told me something that we've been all aware of, but we never put words on that. KOF 15 is a heavy neutral based game. Yes, KOF 15 is a heavy neutral based game. Of course, all KOF games are neutral based. I mean, most of fighting games are neutral based. Even games like Dragon Ball FighterZ are neutral based games, even if you don't think so. That the Dragon Ball FighterZ neutral is sick, is crazy, is for aliens. But it's a neutral based game, but not only. Okay, so of course you have mix-up games, mix-up based games, you have combo based games, you have I don't know, reaction based games. Well, there are a lot of parameters that enters to a game, but the weight of each one can be big or not depending on the game. And KOF, again I'm talking about 13, 14, 15, so the 3 last main KOF games. For 13 and 14, of course there was a big neutral part, but it wasn't only about that. KOF was also a mix-up based game. In KOF, when you win the neutral game, you get the opportunity to get damage or to start a pressure. Once you start a pressure or you get damage, both situations can lead to a mix-up situation. And depending on your ability, your matchup knowledge, your experience, the strength of the mix-up you're gonna apply to your opponent is high or low. The thing is that in KOF 15, when you win the neutral game, there's not a big room for mix-ups. So what happens is that when you win the neutral game war, you're gonna get damage, you're gonna get your safe jump depending on the situation, and that's it. The mix-up part is really not non-existent. Of course, there are still mix-ups, and there were like very basic mix-ups, but they are no more a big part of the game. And I will explain why. It's very easy to understand. First, the way throw works. You know, I've already complained about that in a video that you can find in my YouTube channel. It's in English. That something has changed regarding the way throw works, especially in defensive position, and it's reduced drastically some offensive situations and some mix-ups opportunities, because now you can reversal throw in almost any situation. In other KOFs, when you wake up from a regular knockdown, you couldn't do reversal one frame normal grab. You could do special grab for grapplers, but not normal grabs. When you got hit in the air, you know, and you got the air reset and you restand, you couldn't do a defensive grab in older KOF games. In this one you can. And so this is the first thing. So situations that usually lead to mix-ups doesn't exist anymore because of the grab. Well, you can bait the grab. It creates another layer, but it's harder to bait than do the defensive throw. So that's one first game design change that reduced some of the mix-up mind games parts of KOF offensive gameplay, the older KOF offensive gameplays. Also, look at things that are really obvious. Now when you are hit by an overhead, the damage reduce proration, call it whole scaling or whatever you want, is really hard. Like from an overhead, you can deal 80% or 70% damage. That doesn't work. Overhead with all your matter can lead maybe to 50-45%, because the damage scaling for overhead is by game design really strong. Remember in KOF 13, an overhead from Kim, bye bye. This is no more the case. This is a finishing situation because the resources you spend from that is really expensive. So you're not really worried about the overhead low mix-up, because the damage from overhead is not frightening at most of the times. Of course, if you're almost dead, it can become dangerous. Look at how the command grabs also have a big damage scaling. Some of them are still strong. We all think about Rock Howard EX grab because of the properties, but the damage behind that is good, but not as good as in older KOF. If Yagami throw you, well, not the latest KOF 14 patches, that's true, but usually getting hit by a command grab means damage, means danger. Not anymore, because of the way the scaling works. So if you take these three game design decisions, you realize that yes, this KOF of course has mix-ups, but they're not as rewarding as it was before. So what remains? Neutral game, I mean. So the most damaging situations are things that you earned by winning the neutral game. And winning neutral game can go from a basic whiff punish to an anti-air to well, like a situation that leads to whiff punish, from a random standing CD that leads to damage. This is neutral game. Yes, this is how it works. And other things like that. So, once you got that, you're gonna tell me, okay, we got it. This KOF is not a mix-up heavy game. It's more neutral based game. Okay, right? But we can just all play neutral game and that's it. But the thing is, There are two important things to have in mind. First, I'm gonna talk about the American game style. Okay, I'm from Africa. I'm not in Asia, not in America. I play with Europe players, but I can not judge, but I can witness the game style of each region because I've been playing with them for so long, and I've played with almost every region. And I'm gonna talk about the American with the big A. So North America, Central America, South America, America game style. American game style is very strong in mix-up games. The American players, the best American players, are very good in mix-ups. They have crazy setups, crazy stuff, crazy mind games. They transcended mind games even with using fake buttons and stuff like that. This is their game style. This is the American style. Offense, mix-ups, damage, good combo execution, of course. But that's what they're really good at. I'm not saying that they're not good in neutral games. That's not what I'm saying. Of course, the best players, they also have a very good neutral game. Of course, no. And some of them are like top world. I'm thinking about someone like Toshi from Peru, but we're gonna talk about that later. So American game style is, from my point of view, very strong in offensive mix-up style. And the problem is that in that game, for the reason I said, it doesn't reward you like it rewards you in other KOF. And I felt this was disturbing because I felt like America players, they played together, they played their games since the game release, and they've been playing classic KOF. They've been actually playing mix-ups. They've been actually trying to play the way they used to play, which works between them because they're all trying to play the same game. And don't get me wrong, here, Morocco, North Africa, and Europe, we've been doing the same, to be honest. We still try to play KOF as KOF played, with, of course, neutral, but once we get in, we try to mix up, because this is what we've been doing also in other KOFs. The problem is that in other regions, so let's go to Asia, let's talk about Taiwan, because they dominated Evo. Like there were like 4 Taiwanese players, I think, in the whole tournament, and 3 of them are 1, 2, 3. And I'm pretty sure Xiao Bao, who was the 4th Taiwanese, is somewhere in top 16 or top, like not far from top 8. So what is going on is that those players, they play KOF and they play neutral and mix up, but they specialized and they're in neutral game. Their neutral game got even better, and they've dropped little by little the mix-up part of the way they play. I'm not saying there are no mix-ups. Of course, there are still mix-up situations. There are characters, gifted characters, that can still mix up you. I'm thinking about Jenny and other characters like that. But they built their neutral game in a very, very effective way. And you're gonna ask me, how did they do that? Like, how did they were able to build the neutral game more than other players? Why did we still play KOF, classic KOF, in other countries, other region, but there they focus the game on neutral game? I'm gonna tell you something. It's gonna sound very, very weird to you, but all of that is because of one single player. The situation I'm talking about now is the result of one guy, and I'm not how do you call that? I'm not putting him on a pedestal. I don't know how to say that in English, but that's true, and this is what I've been told. So there's one player in the region who is kind of famous. I'm pretty sure you've heard about him if you are hearing about KOF, called Xiao Hai. I think you've heard about Xiao Hai. He's one of the best KOF player in the world, like maybe top 3 of all time KOF player, a beast, a monster. He won Evo, he won everything he could won in KOF. He's already done it. Okay, so we're gonna say, okay, but Xiaohai was already there in other KOF games. So what happened? Why did Xiaohai could play Piédestal? Ça se dit Pedestal. Thank you. J'avais le mot en tête, c'est pour ça qu'il est sorti. So, what about Xiaohai? Why this time? So it's simple. It's the combination of two factors. First factor, Xiaohai is in every KOF a neutral game demon. He has probably the best neutral game in KOF in the world. His domination in KOF 98 is because the game neutral is very, very strong. His domination in other KOF is because his neutral game part is very strong. So you give this guy a neutral heavy based game, it's become too difficult. It's his world. You enter, when you play KOF 15, you enter Xiaohai's world. He is so good in neutral game. The way he moves, his reaction, his anti-air, the way he controls space, it's amazing. It's from another planet. Of course, other players are really good on that. I'm thinking about M-Dash in Japan. I was talking about Toshi in Peru. There are players that are good like about it. But Xiaohai is like, well, for the region we're talking about, he is like a fish in the sea when you talk neutral games. So how did we beat Xiaohai in other KOF? And I'm saying we, not including myself, even if it happens. Salut Rodil. Yes, ça va très bien. So how did we were able to beat Xiaohai? It's because in the other KOF games I've mentioned, neutral part was of course important, but we had the mix-up part. And against mix-up, everybody is not equal, but almost. When you have the ability to mix up someone, we're all humans. It's decisions. Of course, experience helps, situation helps, analysis, intelligence, a lot of things. But in the end, you have to make decision. So when you could mix up Xiaohai and it could have an effect on the game, you had a chance to win against a player like that. In this game, as I explained before, mix-ups are not dangerous. So the biggest part is neutral, and this guy is a neutral monster. Okay, so that was the first thing. Second thing is the net code of the game allows all the guys from the region to play with him in a very, very like offline like game, thanks to the rollback netcode and everything that was done. So what happens is that the Taiwanese players, they played Xiaohai. Xiaohai showed them, guys, no need to mix up, no need to try to do things like that. He destroyed them in neutral. So they've learned that actually, in a faster way, that the game is about neutral, is about Xiaohai's world. So because they fight this neutral game demon, their neutral became extremely strong. And the result is simple. Their neutral is strong. They play the best characters because the character selection, character strength is based on who are the best neutral game characters in the game. That's how the tier list got like built itself. And then they come to Evo playing the rest of the world who is still trying to play KOF. We don't have a Xiaohai we don't have a Xiaohai guy in our region. We have strong players, but we didn't have this intensive neutral KOF neutral lesson, and this is one of the reason the result what it was is because they've already in that step where they already adapted the way of play that this KOF 15, because of the rules I mentioned before, is asking us to play unless they change things, unless they remove the throw, or unless. But the way it's built now, it's a neutral heavy game. Mix-ups are important, but not as much as other KOF. So I'm trying to let you think about that. Of course, maybe some of you will say we already knew that. Thank you for thank you, Mr. Obvious, and I welcome you. I felt that personally, but I didn't put words on that. Like I said before, it's like I felt like mix-ups because of the normal throw, they're not good, but we still try. And you know what? I started realizing this when I went to Evo before the finals. Before I had this talk. With this talk, I was able to grasp what they say and understand, because I've realized something. I would just give you a small thing about my own experience. I didn't have time to actually practice as much as I could for this game, so my level is not really good. I'm okay. I think 25th place at Evo with the time I spend is a good thing. I think I'm a good overall player, not top of the world, but I'm okay. I can say that about myself. And I've played players that are way stronger than me. When I was in Evo, I had the chance to practice before the Evo. I had the chance to do sets with international top players and see how were my results. And I realized something is that, I play Yashiro in 3rd position. And I realized that the games that I won when I was in Anchor versus Anchor situation are the games where I didn't try to do anything. When I stood still and tried to play neutral game, mean Farsi, delay, try to whiff punish, anti-air, wait, Farsi, delay, Farsi, quarter circle punch, well, half circle punch, were the games where I had the best results. And I had some very strong top players struggling against that. Of course, it means that Yashiro is busted, he's super strong. But it also showed me something. That, whoa, when I don't try to get in and create mix-ups and create opportunities, I do better results. Same with K-Dash. With K-Dash, I realized that the games I won with K-Dash are the games where I just stay away and do my fireball things, and that's it. And when I got a hit, I try a safe jump and a small, very, very light pressure, and that's it. When I try to keep on pressuring, I got destroyed. When I try to mix up, I got destroyed. When I try to mix up, I'm taking risks and they don't always pay. I got destroyed by a far C, standing CD, Shizuru thing, a crouching B something. So this made me realize that, well, okay, why do I have to go try to create mix-ups, decisions, things, when just playing neutral game is rewarding? And I had that on mind. I tried to play like that. Well, of course, I can't fight against myself, so even in my Evo match, I tried to get in. I tried to get mix-ups, because you can't just change the way you play like that. But I had that on mind. So when I talked with ZJZ and ET, thanks to Charles for the translation, he was very helpful, because he knows fighting games, he knows KOF, so we were able to speak one language. And I also talked with Lacid about that. I've tried to talk with other international top players about that, and we came to a common ground that yes, this is the reality of the game. So KOF 15, how it's built now, is a neutral heavy game. If you want to get better in this game, get better in neutral. Try to reduce things that will lead to mix-ups, unless you're playing gifted characters like Jenny. You throw the fireball, you jump, that's a real mix-up. You know what I mean. And try to focus your neutral game. I know that my biggest weakness in KOF, all KOF, is my neutral game. I know that. I'm aware of that. I'm really bad on that. I'm better when I'm pressuring and getting mix-ups. This is where I feel better. Give me KOF13 Kyo and or Shenwu, and I'm gonna be on you. Give me Mr. Karate. I'm gonna be on you. This is how I feel better. Give me Kukri. Give me Kukri with crazy stuff, mix-ups, and this is how I'm gonna play. But in this game it doesn't work, and they destroyed him. But anyway, this is how I feel good playing. So for me, this lesson was really, whoa, you're not good enough. You don't have enough time, and this KOF is focused in this KOF. I mean, is focused on your main weakness, neutral game. And I'm trying to tell you that just to make you be aware that. The key now, the way the game is built now, is work on your neutral game. Try to play that. And neutral game in KOF is not the hardest one, okay? Because there are a lot of tools to control space, but it requires special dedication to understand how the game works, how the move works. How you make your opponent move, and how you can control how your opponent move, because this is a big part of neutral game. It's also about your anti-air reactions. Sorry guys, you have to work on that. Small jumps, hops. You cannot anti-air every hop. Of course, that's not, even Shanghai doesn't do that. But you have to. I mean, you have to make a jump a dangerous decision from your opponent. This is how it is. How to anti-air? you play Cronen and you do EXDP. You play Yashiro and Jenny and you do stand C, or Jenny EX quarter circle forward kick from far. You have DPs. You have anti-airs with characters that has anti-airs. Some characters, they don't have anti-airs, so they have to jump. They have to run. But you have solutions. You have. There must be one best anti-F for of your character. I play fair mid-tier characters, no DP. He's a liar. He plays a show. So standing C. I was saying that. First of all, is everything I talked about is clear for you? I was gonna make a very long video, but who cares? I will feel better once I've shared with everyone. I won't feel guilty keeping that for me. Yes, close C. Yes, stand C, close C, of course. Il va haranguer, là je le regarde. Ah bon? Peut-être, hein, peut-être je dois faire une mimique en fonction de la langue que j'utilise. C'est très probable. Well, Yamazaki main weakness is his lack of anti-air outside of his super, so that's normal that you struggle with Yamazaki. That's his weakness. If you give Yamazaki anti-air, he can be top tier. He's really free to jumps, especially close jump-ins. It's a good lesson because I also struggled playing like I used in the older KOF games. Well, I'm glad that it helps, but for real, it's not rocket science. I'm not saying something like, whoa, he changed the game, we didn't know that, but I felt like it's something that you like. Again, I like saying that, but it's just put words on a feeling we had, and I feel like, well, I didn't have time to actually replay KOF that much. I've been just like playing the Orochis because I wanted to try them, but I've been thinking about that a lot, and once I will come back to the competitive scene, probably on October, I will try to apply all of this and have and try to get better in neutral game myself. But yes, if it's Yama crouching C can be useful sometimes and an anti-air. Right. But not really reliable. And I don't play Yamazaki, but when I play against Yamazaki, I jump on his head as much as I can. And I know that top Yamazaki players, they told me that they struggle in that situation. That's why I'm saying that. I'm not saying he doesn't have anti-air. Of course, you can find things, but you know that's a weakness he has. If he had like a good standing C like Yashiro, he would be a very, very strong Ancho character because he has everything you can ask for. Beside neutral being your weakness, you think this is a good or a bad thing personally? What? Oh, okay, I got your question. You know, I will tell you something that I liked KOF 13, and it was probably the KOF where I reached the highest level in my competitive life, because it's a very aggressive game and other game styles are not rewarded as much as aggressivity. Of course, there are some specialists with zoning game. Hello, Mysterio, that destroyed us, all of us. But I felt better in this game because, of course, the game rewarded offense, pressure, things like that, where I feel better. In KOF 14, which I didn't had, well, I didn't put as much time as I put in KOF 13, obviously, but the game had rewarded different game styles depending on the version of the game we've been playing. So there was diversity of game styles in KOF 14. So of course, when I could press and play my game, I felt better. But when I couldn't because of different game style, I struggled. Why I'm saying that is that I don't want to say I'm good in something, so I prefer the game that pays where I'm good at. I don't want to say that. I just want to say that I'm more, and this is what KOF 13 main weakness in my opinion, I like diversity. I like a game where you can be rewarded in different ways. So if you ask me, I would prefer a game with a better balance between neutral, mix-ups, zoning, execution, or everything. I love balance. I don't want a game that goes into just one way. And KOF, because of the variety of the richness of the system, is actually a game that can allows that because the way it's built. So having a KOF that is heavily neutral based is not a bad thing, because I know there's a lot of players that love neutral games. They don't like mix-ups. They love neutral games. Neutral game, I mean. But if you ask me, I think the game should have a better balance than the way it is now. But it is not bad. It just make this KOF the way it is. And to be honest, since I'm weak in neutral game, because I was able to avoid it by having other things to do, maybe that's the perfect opportunity for me, if I want to get better in this game, to actually correct that weakness I have. So in a sense, having a more neutral oriented game is an opportunity for me and maybe from other players to actually get better in neutral. So I would wish a better balance, but I'm okay with the way it is now, because okay, so it's time. Let's finally solve this neutral issue I had, and let's keep playing. And again, that's a part of the game. You know, there are other things about the game to enjoy. So I can't say it's a bad thing. I just say that it's better to be aware of it, for sure, and it's an opportunity to just correct those for those who struggle in that, and the players who are already good in neutral, there they will feel better, and so they won't have chance to get better on mix-ups, but they will have other opportunities, other games for that. Shao showed that he's a natural game. That this is a natural game. He did FT10 versus ZJZ 2 days ago, and he was striking him with the Ashiro point. Yes, no surprise, no surprise at all. I'm not telling stories. I'm just seriously saying what I had discussions with those guys. And of course, let's just put something that I should have said before starting. Again, that's the result of my discussions with those people and my own interpretation of the game. What I mean is that it's not a universal truth, universal rule. It's just that I felt that I talked with some players that shared that feeling, and I'm sharing with you because I agree. I'm not sharing something that I don't agree with. I'm sharing something that I feel it might be true, but it doesn't mean that it's the universal and only rule. Maybe someone plays only mix-up based game and destroys everyone. It can happen. You can play mix-up game and win in KOFXV. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying this is the result of my own experience and my own talks with those guys. So I mean, if you don't agree with that, it's all right. You can, and you maybe you might have the best vision. Maybe mine is wrong. Maybe I got misled somewhere. But I'm just sharing with you the result of my own analysis and with the exchange of these top players. We can call them top players.